Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, today's gospel is coming from Luke 20:27 through 38, and it's the resurrection of marriage. And here we have the Sadducees are trying to discredit Jesus' authority to teach. And before I go too far, let's understand the Sadducees were a wealthy, aristocrat, Jewish sect. Smaller than the Pharisees, but both were trying to discredit Jesus' preaching. They held a significant political power and religious power over the Sanhedrin and the temple in Jerusalem. They were strict to the Torah, not believing in the resurrection of dead, angels, and or hell, and oral tradition. The Sadducees often aligned with Rome. Wasn't it the Sadducees that were involved, that brought Jesus to being arrested and brought to trial? Yeah. So they also opposed the apostles preaching after Jesus' death. Okay? They had Peter and John arrested in an attempt to stop the gospel. So let's take a look at what Luke has to say. Some of the Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to Jesus with a question. Teacher, they said, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife and no children, the man must marry the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers. The first one married a woman and died childless. The second, then the third married her, and in the same way the 7 died, leaving no children. Finally, the woman died too. Now then, at the resurrection, whose wife will she be, since the 7 were married to her? Jesus replied, the people of this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy of taking part in the age to come in the resurrection from the dead will neither marry nor be given in marriage. And they can no longer die, for they are like the angels. They are God's children, since they are children of the resurrection. But in the account of the burning bush, even Moses showed that the dead rise, for he calls the Lord of God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. For to him all are alive. It's almost as though the religious authorities, despite their own differences of opinion among themselves, they're tag teaming up to try and trip Jesus up with clever questions. But the Sadducees' question was based on the assumption that life after the resurrection would be a continuation of the current ages of earthly conditions, including cell phones. Anyhow, where did I see? I lost my place. Cell phones go off during service. The continuation of the current age's earthly conditions, including marriage and procreation. Marriage and procreation. We'll go into that later, I think. And when the Sadducees presented their question, they took it a step